Fresno, California should never be considered civilization. It's a dirty, sweaty city that rests at the foot of the Sierra Nevada mountain range, and it isn't called the armpit of California for nothing. It actually has improved drastically over the years, adding all the things we in America deem so necessary to our survival and comfort. Malls and restaurants and cinemas have sprung up all over the place. They even have a Panera now. But during the summer, the temperature still soars up into the hundreds, and just getting out of the car and walking into a building can cause sweat to ooze forth and start dribbling down. And it has a smell, a combination of car exhaust and humanity that permeates everything, soaking into your pores and leaving you feeling in desperate need for a shower. So it should come as no surprise that leaving Fresno after getting all your necessary chores done is always nice. It's not a complicated drive, a right and two lefts, and you're back home. But it is a long one, about 2 hours. You start out on Highway 60, going straight, and straight, and straight some more. You go past some vineyards on the left, all brown and dried out now. They were green when I came to California, and fat, with big purple grapes. The first time I drove down into town, some friends and I borrowed our boss's old station wagon, and we got a flat tire right by those vines. It was so hot that day, and I remember standing in the sun, watching the water moving sluggishly in the irrigation ditch on the side of the road. It smelled kind of stale and fetid, competing fiercely with the fresh green smell of growing plants that came from the vines, the combination of which made me kind of nauseous. But I think the farmer couldn't make the payments on the fields or something because they've died out by now. The water in the ditches and the field long since drying up. You drive some more, past the vineyards, going through a tiny town I've never learned the name for. I only know that you have to slow down from the normal 65 mile per hour to a crawling 45 because there's this one town cop that tracks the curve. He doesn't care if you're going 46, he'll pull you over. I think his paycheck depends on speeding tickets. Once you pass the river, you can speed up though, zipping past the camping area down by the curve and the bank. On your right, you pass a cattle farm, but it's not a normal one. They breed rodeo bulls there, the meaner the better. They even have some out of Bodacious. If you aren't aware, Bodacious was known for this one particular trick that resulted in many a broken face in his riders. It involved him rearing his rear end up with his head to the ground, forcing his rider to shift his weight forward. The bull would then lift his head up full force, smashing his rider's face in. In 1995, rider Scott Breeding tried riding him while wearing a hockey mask. However, this failed to protect him adequately. Bodacious headbutting Breeding, breaking his nose and bursting his bones. They finally banned the bull from competition a few days later. His descendants are all separated into separate little paddocks with gelded animals in between so they don't kill each other. They walk around on spindly little legs with huge humps on their back, making them look utterly ridiculous. Once you pass that farm, you go past 2 more cattle ranches, these being normal beef production farms. There's also a little Arabian horse farm on the left that looks nice, but I've never been down in there before. We have 2 Marini Arabs at the barn, and they can get kind of high-strung. Snowy tells me I can't buy any. Hold your breath. You have now passed through the town of Winkler, California. All of them are related to one another in some way. The town possesses one convenience store with Southern Rebel flags and NRA hats displayed in the window. I've always wanted to stop and buy an I Heart Winkler shirt from there, but I've never had the courage. There are rumors that the whole town is populated with a neo-Nazi biker gang, and who knows, it's in California. Directly after Mingler is the first left, a continuation of Highway 60. There's the best fruit stand in the world on the corner of the intersection. It's huge. You can buy anything there. Peaches, nectarines, cherries, even avocados, 5 for $1. All of the fruit is picked from the huge orchards that surround it. I always stop if it's open, washing my produce in the little rinsing station they have off to the side and eating some of it on my trip. It serves as a good halfway point in the trip. It's an hour or so to my destination, whichever way I'm going. Back in the car, speeding down the road, you come across the bump. The bump is always fun, but never so much fun as if it's night and there's no one around and you're in a good car, not one of the Suburbans or hauling a horse trailer. You can shove the pedal down, gun the engine to 90, and if you hit the bump just right, you can fly. For a few minutes, anyway. Hovering in the air and really wishing you had the general's horn to hit. And then you whip right really fast and cruise through orange groves that go farther than the eye can see. There's a little house nestled in a rock wall on the left. They have a small pasture and 3 tiny miniature ponies that I always want to stuff into the car and take home with me. It's the marker for the start of the climb. Slip the vehicle into third, and if you're pulling a trailer, reach forward and engage the tow package because it's all up from here on. Up. Almost straight up sometimes, and with so many switchbacks, you're not sure if you're coming or going sometimes. I hate getting caught behind tourists on this part of the trip. You can always tell them apart from the locals. They cling to their steering wheels with a death grip and lean forward in the driver's seat. The kids smushed against the right side windows as they tried to see off the drop-off. They also drive about 30 miles an hour. The speed limit is 65, but every single one of them is sure they're going to go off the side of the road, and I admit, the sheer drop on the right-hand side is kind of intimidating. You can see the entire valley as you drive up, especially if there's no haze from the smog. I once drove along with a golden eagle for about a quarter of a mile as he glided through the air, rising on the gunnels. People get so caught up in the view that they forget to pull over into the pullouts, though, and let people pass. If you're in a good car, you can punch it and pass them. But sometimes you get stuck behind lines of them during the high season, and God forbid you get caught behind a bus or a tractor trailer. And you're not going anywhere fast. Pass Swingin's gas station, where you always pull in to fill up because it's the last cheap place on the drive. The gas and the soda is free if you're in a camp vehicle, and you get 20% discount on anything else. Then it's back in the car, taking the horrible right-hand turn that kills people each year because they underestimate it, and the spot where I saw a bobcat and her kids trot across the road one night. But it's the moment you pass Snowline Lodge that everything changes. The whole world becomes green. The sugar pines rise up around you in a huge wall, blocking out the sun and cooling the air. The temperature drops about 10 degrees during the ride up. Going past the park entry station is amazing. It's Hollow Tree, a huge sequoia that shoots up into the air, towering above its small cousins like a giant. Fuzzy, cinnamon-colored bark is interrupted by a large, hollowed-out section, making a cave-like area in the bole of the tree. They moved the actual vehicle check-in stations years ago because they thought the tree was going to fall. Experts predicted it wouldn't last 3 more months. There were murmurs through the grapevine that they were going to have to move the whole highway when it fell. It's that big. It's the Park Service. They might have done it. The tree's still there, though, loftily ignoring the predictions of its imminent demise. The damn things are resilient. The next right turn takes you away from the main tourist traffic, people going to see General Grant and his coterie, and on to the final stretch. I don't even have to think about it anymore. Muscle memory takes over as I cruise along, windows open and radio blaring, taking switchbacks without even thinking. Past the really neat glade that's tucked back into the woods, and the mound of granites that rise up out of the earth like monoliths, and the trailheads for Mount Baldy and Redwood Valley. All the way to the 3 wooden bears that mark the entrance to your destination. Inhale, exhale, just breathing. Because the air up there is just so